Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another InnovED QuickCast hosted by the InnovED team at OISE Continuing and Professional Learning, University of Toronto. For those joining us for the first time, InnovED is a UFT incubator that brings together educators, entrepreneurs, researchers, and innovators who are passionate about shaping the future of education through collaboration, inquiry, and shared learning. Through conversations like today's QuickCast, we aim to create space for meaningful dialogue around innovation, impact, and educational transformation across systems and communities. Today's QuickCast is titled Scaling Impact Together: How Partnerships Can Enable Change in Education, and we'll be exploring what it truly means to grow educational innovation in ways that are sustainable, equitable, and system-oriented. We'll discuss the role of partnerships, the milestones involved in scaling, and what edupreneurs should consider as they work to expand the reach and influence of their work. I'm especially excited to welcome our guest speaker, Martha Jez. Martha is the owner and CEO of Fair Chance Learning with a master's in critical disability studies from York University. Martha is a recognized leader in inclusive, future-ready education. She has collaborated with organizations such as UNESCO, the British Council, Microsoft, and Amazon to deliver skills development programs across Canada, the United States, Kenya, Algeria, and the United Kingdom. Her work focuses on building digital fluency, AI literacy, and equitable access to emerging technologies through universal design for learning and system-wide transformation. Martha also serves on the OISE Curriculum Review Committee for Continued Professional Learning, helping shape programs that prepare individuals and organizations for a rapidly evolving world. Known for her energy and her motto, "Let's do this," Martha brings deep expertise in collaboration, innovation, and workforce readiness, and we are very excited to have her with us today. Martha, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, Sharif, and thank you for the introduction and the opportunity.
So to begin, I'd love to ground our conversation in the mission and vision behind Fair Chance Learning and how you define the work that matters the most. Could you please walk us through the goals that drive Fair Chance Learning and what does impact mean to FCL?
Sure. So as we frame this discussion around partners enabling change in education, that's certainly a driver for us at Fair Chance Learning. We're an organization 15 years in the making and believe that the future belongs to those who never stop learning. And so as we're thinking about who we want the future to be, who we want to be included in that, it's everybody. So it's in our name. We believe every individual deserves a fair chance, and that learning is a driver in terms of reaching success. When we talk about impact within the organization, it really is about providing products, services, and opportunities to improve systems. We work within traditional education systems and non-traditional education systems, and what are the changes we can bring through collaboration to enhance learning environments and change the conditions so everyone can be successful.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Martha. Building on that, I'd love to explore the role that partnerships play in helping scale and sustain that impact. Partnerships are often a critical component in moving innovation from idea to implementation across systems and communities. How do partnerships help FCL achieve that kind of impact? And can you walk us through an example?
Sure. So, we are an organization. We are not an educational institution. And so partnerships is really how we make an impact in the education institutions we serve and the individuals we support. It's critical. And I was asking who has registered for this event, and I understand that there's a number of educators who are connected to education institutions, whether it be York Catholic, Toronto District School Board, Peel District School Board, and some independent schools as well. I think that there's a recognition, and I'd love to hear from those who are tuning in. Why does partnership matter to you as an educator and a leader in an educational system? And for Fair Chance Learning, we recognize that teachers need the support, leaders need the support. And if we were to take an example around I think that that's a great example. And I know Sam had brought it forward. But as we're navigating the impact that AI is having in our systems, it's really about working together to have collective conversations and sharing successful practice. So the partnership is essential, where we're getting feedback from educators who are saying in the classroom, this is what it looks like. When we're getting feedback from education leaders who are saying, these are the conversations that the educators are bringing into the staff rooms and parent calls that we're fielding. And then we have that level of governance and the role that the government is playing as we're shaping our education systems. And then we have the technology and the tools that are available. What is available at our hands, and how are we making the right choices to impact students in their learning? I can give you an example with the AI Summit that we just hosted at Microsoft headquarters. This is a very recent one. On Friday, we had over 18 different institutions across Ontario and Manitoba come select leaders to come and have this conversation. So from the technology side, we talk about partnership within the system. And so you have the technology side, and then you have the education and the pedagogical side of an institution, and then you have the business side as well. And so partnership exists within the educational institutions, and then there's the collaborators and stakeholders outside of the institution. And so we had Microsoft presenting kind of their work index report and talking about the skills that educators need, but the skills that employees, industry need, and the skills of the future for our students. And then we grounded the conversation by examples of how AI is being scaled in districts like Limestone District School Board and Louis Riel School District in Manitoba. And then we had roundtable discussions where we did have OISE Continuing Professional Learning lead a roundtable. We had Signal 49, which used to be the Conference Board of Canada, lead a roundtable conversation. We had ECNO, who is responsible for the IT of 72 school boards, leading and supporting the association there, leading a conversation. And so that's all the different levels. And then we have the tools that are supporting those conversations. So there is no magic bullet. There is no one role that can meet the needs. And it really is this collaboration and partnership that helping ground us, as you say, in making ethical decisions about bringing tools and technology to support learning environments.
Thank you, Martha. So can we say that the relationship between collaboration and scalability is like inevitable? Like there has to be collaboration, there has to be partnerships in order to scale whatever you're working on.
For sure. For sure. And if you think of like an edupreneur who has a new product or service that they're trying to bring into a system, into a certain category or panel within the education system, how do they start that? It certainly is listening to educators. Like there has to be a need for this tool. It has to be validated by educators. It has to be safe and secure. And so you have to engage the IT part of the conversation. If it's technology based, certainly. If it's anything related to mental health and well-being, you would want to make sure that school board paraprofessionals are supportive of it. So there's all of these stakeholders that you need to consider, and then obviously that it's serving the needs of the students in the classroom.
So, impactful growth is often the result of many strategic decision milestones along the way. As organizations grow, there are usually defining moments that shape both direction and reach. What are some of the milestones that have been important for FCL in scaling your impact through partnerships?
I would certainly say that our vision, we've always felt strongly that technology plays a role in creating the right learning conditions in a learning environment. And for us, early on in our origins of our company, we had the opportunity to connect with Microsoft. And that relationship has been a defining moment for us, for sure, through the partnership. I think it's for every employee at Microsoft, there's five external partners that are connected. And so that network is just vast and incredible. It's led us to be introduced to the Microbit Foundation from a STEM and coding perspective. So it took us on a complete wonderful journey of coding and STEM and supporting computational thinking in the classroom. So that's one partner it introduced us to, which led to a plethora of opportunity. The accessibility side of things that drives us from Fair Chance Learning. We have a very inclusive approach to learning, making sure it does meet the needs of all learners. The Microsoft tools have given us an opportunity to develop deep connection to special education side of school districts and supporting them around assistive technology, but that larger conversation about universal design for learning. So that's given us an opportunity. And there's a lot of not-for-profits that we've connected with through that original contact of Microsoft.
I think many edupreneurs and innovators in our community are navigating, similar questions around growth, sustainability, and system level engagement. What you shared is really valuable, so thank you very much. Now, to the last point of our conversation today, Martha, I'd love to leave our audience with some practical reflections and advice drawn from your experience. So, what advice do you have for edupreneurs as they work to scale the impact of their innovations across education systems?
So I think that if you're Ontario based, finding the networking opportunities, and that shifted as a result of the pandemic. Our conferences, our established conferences have disappeared. We do see teacher associations arranging conferences now, coming back, the attendance coming back a little bit, which is a great place for edupreneurs to have that conversation, to have the ear of educators and say, hey, here's my idea, here's my product, here's my tool. This is how I think it'll support student learning, and get the feedback directly from educators. So connecting through conferences and associations is a definite opportunity to build your network. I think building the network is essential. That's where you're going to fall on an opportunity. I always say, absolutely take the meeting, find the opportunity. And there's lots of times that with COVID and the pandemic, you'll get these random requests of like a virtual coffee chat, or would you mind presenting on this? I would always say, yes, do it, because you're going to learn something through that connection, that conversation. It'll help crystallize your thinking about your product. It'll help you develop the message, which is essential. And then in terms of actually scaling your impact, you have to be measuring. You have to be measuring the impact you're having in the classroom, or the pilot schools, or at the teacher level. So making sure you have clear goals when you create that pilot experience, and making sure that you have, I would say, an MOU. So, as a partner, what are you bringing to the organization or the institution you're serving? And then what are the expectations of them as well? And who's being left out that you need to engage? I would say very important is making sure the right people know what's happening in a classroom or at a school site. So if that product is going in, if that experience is going in, that principals know, that the principals, if it's a district priority, how it aligns to the district priority. And then from the tech side of things, make sure your terms and conditions align to best practice, and your end user agreements are very clear in terms of how the data is being stored, protected, and handled, especially if it's serving individual students. That's a huge concern.
So you definitely recommend getting out of the basement and start networking with people, which is like interesting because this is the whole idea behind InnovED, right? To bring like-minded people who want to change something, add something, innovate something in education together in one community. So for the sole purpose of networking and getting to know each other and then help each other through feedback, connections, networking, even like partnerships sometimes, which we witnessed in our InnovED. So yeah, thank you very much. It makes a lot of sense. Anything else you'd like to add, Martha?
Yeah, I think too, when we first were thinking through this conversation, I said, I certainly don't want edupreneurs to feel disillusioned or undersupported in bringing their idea to life. I think that growth mindset that we all talk about, you may think that you have a perfect product to solve a particular issue. If you're getting feedback that this isn't the iteration of it, or the current status is not serving the way that you had intended, having that growth mindset to approach it in a new way, right? What are the things I've learned so far? What is the feedback telling me about a product? And maybe I turn my product into a different product or a different service. Like that recognition that you're learning along the way every time you have an experience, whether bad, good, or mid, there's something that you can incorporate into how you continue that support. And if you're an edupreneur, it's because you're passionate about education. You have a higher purpose than you know, providing a product that maybe doesn't have that type of passion driven work. So tapping in and feeding that passion and the professional learning that you can take as well, like find these opportunities. I know that OISE celebrates Entrepreneurship Week in March, and there's a host of events. Like, go to those events, get out there, take the virtual opportunity, but also take that in-person opportunity to see what's going on, and just being in an environment that's different than your basement that you mentioned, that there's certain energy to that you can draw into your experience and draw into your development work.
100%. Thank you, Martha. That was really deep and valuable. And remember, our edupreneurs and attending audience, get out of the basement, network, go to events, and attend UFT Entrepreneurship Week.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. So before we wrap up, just a few quick reminders for everyone. If you'd like to stay updated on upcoming InnovED events, workshops, and community opportunities, please join our mailing list. The link will be shared in the comments section by my colleague. And as a reminder as well, that summer course enrollment is currently open through OISE Continuing and Professional Learning for everyone interested in professional learning opportunities over the summer. And finally, applications for the next cohort of the InnovED Network of Practice will be opening in August. So stay tuned for more information in the coming months. Martha, thank you again for sharing your insights, experiences, and reflection with our community today. I think this conversation has offered valuable perspective on what it means to scale impact thoughtfully and collaboratively across education systems and organizations. And thank you as well to everyone who joined today's InnovED QuickCast. We truly appreciate your attendance, engagement in the comment section, and continued participation in the InnovED events. We look forward to continuing these conversations and seeing you at future InnovED events and sessions. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Thank you,
Sharif,
Marcy.
I do see that there's a question in the chat there that I'm
Mhm.
willing to tackle if you're open
Yeah,
to
yeah,
that.
we have time. Please go ahead.
So it says some common pitfalls when scaling, what to pay attention to during the process. So I think that the pitfalls, getting getting into the classroom or getting into the environment where your tool or product or service is taking place, that's where the rubber hits the road and you get so much feedback. And you can plan, it doesn't matter how deep you go into planning. Once it's practical, like as a practitioner, it's going to look completely different. And you have all of these systems that are in place that you can't account for, like broadband and firewalls and network issues and different device. And so from the technical side of things, you're going to learn a lot. And then from what's taking place in the classroom, you're going to see where the gaps in communication are. So I would say pay attention to the gaps of communication as you're rolling out a particular program or pilot, and then be prepared to be on site as much as possible to see the implementation in real time, real life, because that's when you're going to get all that real data back that'll help inform a better process or product. And then I see another question here. When do you know an idea is ready to be scaled and what are the signals? So I would say when the end users are talking about it, when the educators are talking about it in that peer-to-peer sharing, when students are talking about it with their parents or guardians at home, when you're getting that, hey, what's going on in the classroom? What's going on in your classroom? That, those types of curiosities, pay attention to those for sure. And then having those early conversations with the leadership at the institution to say, this is taking place, this is what we're hoping to achieve, and then keeping that conversation going, keeping them updated with the success of the project as it's going, the challenges, and how you're working through. Those are all the
Perfect.
questions I see right now, but I understand through LinkedIn, we can continue posting
Yes.
questions. And I would say also in terms of shooting your shot, like reach out to an organization, reach out to a partner, take advantage of those conferences or those chats to pitch your idea. Like pitch your idea all the time. Just keep talking about your idea, your product, your service, and get feedback because you never know when somebody's going to be like, oh, I remember meeting so and so, and they said that they could do this. And I would say that my inbox has been, there's so many examples when people say, I met you at a conference and you mentioned you did this. Can we have a chat? So, being proactive in conversations and being social is really important to your product as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So as Martha mentioned, we are going to hang around the post on LinkedIn for a while to answer any questions that come in. Again, thank you everyone who made the time to attend today, and for everyone who will watch this session later, thank you in advance. Martha, thank you again. That was really helpful for me personally and for our audience as well. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon.